We're busy again. You guys all got your stuff up? Ready? All right. We are going to call this December meeting of the Lenoir County Board of Education to order. We will recognize Mr. Williams for the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. May the words spoken in this room tonight be beneficial to the students, parents, staff, and administrators in our school system, and may we be led by the guiding principle to always base our decisions on the best interests of our young people. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, we're going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Mozingo for the election of the board chair and vice chair for the next year.
Okay. Every year in December, there's an election for the chair and the vice chair for the board. So nominations are open for the position of chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate John Sargent to remain chairman.
Okay. We have a nomination for John Sargent.
Second.
We have a second for that nomination. Any other nominations?
Would that nomination be closed?
Okay. Have a motion to close the nominations. Second. Second on that. Nominations is for John Sargent. All those in favor of John Sargent, please raise your right hand. Okay. All those opposed? I do believe it is unanimous, and Mr. John Sargent will be the board chair for Lenoir County Public School Board of Education again for this year. Would you like to do your vice chair, or you want me to continue?
You can go ahead. I think you're supposed to do both of them.
It actually could go either way, but it's all right. Nominations are open for the position of vice chair. Okay.
I move that we nominate Bruce Hill to be the vice chair this year also.
Okay. All right, have a nomination for Bruce Hill. Is there a second?
A second.
And a second. Okay. Any other nominations?
Would that nomination be closed?
A motion to close the nominations. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and a second. With that, we will, all those in favor of Bruce Hill for the position of vice chair, please raise your right hand. Okay. And all of those opposed? Okay. Mr. Hill, you are again our vice chairman. This board apparently is not into change.
Thanks, sir.
It's fine. We have great leadership. Congratulations, gentlemen. I'll turn it back over to our chairman.
Thank you. And I thank my fellow board members on behalf of myself and Mr. Hill for continuing us in these positions. We do appreciate it. Next item is going to be, at this point, a motion to go into closed session for a student hearing.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to GS 143-318.11, A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential student records under GS 115C-402 and GS 143-318.11, A3 to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Hill and a second by Mr. Anderson. All in favor of going into closed session, raise your right hand. All right, we are now in closed session. All right. We are back in open session. We appreciate everyone staying with us for the closed session. We're now back on the regular agenda. The next item is the board chair comments. I want to thank everybody for being with us. This is another kind of historical night for Lenoir County Public Schools, because this is Dr. Mozingo's last board meeting. So, I know one of us is happy. Yeah, some other people are happy. Since he's already come out of retirement twice, we think this may be his last board meeting. And once again, I'm probably not the right person to do this since I've only really had a chance to work with him for the last 3 years. And his educational career spans, we'll just say, over 40 years.
Let's go leave it at that.
I won't tell you how old I was when he started. But he has had a long career, and we're so glad that he's been with us. I personally want to say that I personally feel like I was blessed by having someone in his position that has his knowledge and experience. Not having any experience in the education system, he was a great person to learn from. I used to think practicing law was complicated, and when you look at what the responsibilities and obligations of a superintendent are, it is really complicated and difficult. The one thing about Dr. Mozingo, as most of you know, not only does he bring that experience, knowledge with him, he really teaches us the right way, I think, to handle things. There is a right path that we can be on and a right way to do things, and that's not always the easy way to do things. But he would always insist on doing it the right way. When I was first elected, I came into Dr. Mozingo first time in his office, and of course I asked him this question: well, why did you come out of retirement, and why did you do it here in Lenoir County? And his response was that he felt like he could really make a difference for the children of Lenoir County. And I think that's what's motivated him to come back, and I see that every day working with him. He also said that, and I believe this is true too, we have all the right pieces here in Lenoir County really to make a great school system. We just need to get them in the right order. We need to put the puzzle together, but we've got all the right pieces. And he has really helped us do that. One of the things that the thing I most admire about his work, at least here in Lenoir County, is that I think it would have been really easy for him to come out of retirement and come into this position and just let things sit in the status quo, just kind of to go through the job and just to let things go on. But he's really not done that at all for us. He has pushed us to improve pretty much every facet of our school system. You know, he brought in his technology experience and background from Greene County. We've worked with him. We've put in place now a technology system here in Lenoir County that is as big a change in technology as I think our system has ever seen. And he was instrumental in putting that in place. On top of that, he found a way to pay for that technology within our existing budget without any new local money. That was a miracle by itself, but he has certainly been able to do that for us. As many of you know, he assembled and led our school improvement task force, which has been operating for over the last 2 years. Through the task force, he's led us in discussions about what grade configurations are better for our students, how do we improve our kindergarten programs. We've discussed school choice options in Lenoir County. He's helped us in a detailed conversation we've had in the last year about how to manage and better utilize our facilities. We now have career pathways in our high schools. We're working on career exploration in our middle schools. When I started adding this up, the list just kept getting longer and longer. He's been a big proponent of kids being able to earn 2 years of college credit while still in high school, which we've been able to do for a lot of our students. And on top of all of this, he's been a tireless advocate for public education across the state. I think most people know that. Anytime, and the other board members would tell you, anytime we go to seminars, it doesn't matter where it is, when they see we're from Lenoir County, they say, "Oh, you've got Dr. Mozingo there, aren't you lucky?" And I say, absolutely we are. But he is recognized statewide as a leader and advocate for public education. Even though he's leaving us, we'll still remember some of his sayings. These are some that I'll always remember. They're good sayings, though. You know, that we are not a monopoly. You know, he's told us that many times. We have to be mindful of the environment we find ourselves in education in the state of North Carolina. We don't run the show by ourselves. We have to look around. We're not a monopoly. Second was the schools don't belong to us. They belong to the people. You know, every time we started having a discussion and somebody said, well, should we get public comment on that? Schools don't belong to us, they belong to the people. They're public schools. And he would always remind us of that. The last one, and my personal favorite, the education that we had was not good enough for our children. You know, we have to do better for our children than what we got. The world is changing. Things are changing. We have to step up. We need to always be improving. And I think we have progressed just incredible leaps and strides since he's been with us. And we are really grateful for all the time and effort he put in to do that. And since I wasn't really here when you started, I wasn't on the board. I think we had at least 3 members who were here when he was hired. I was going to ask Mr. Hill to say a few words about that part.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I hate to pass up an opportunity to talk. And I'm going to go a little more different route here. I'm going to go from a personal standpoint. All the things that John just said are absolutely true, and that's actually from more from a board perspective. This is going to be from my personal perspective. I may go around, but I'm going to come back and bring it all together at the end if I can do that. And I'm going to say some things here that I'm hoping I don't upset anyone. But as everyone here is aware or probably aware that the circumstances of Dr. Mozingo came to us. We had a superintendent whose contract was bought out, and I was not one of the 4 board members that voted for it. And then when Dr. Mozingo's name came before the board as an interim, I was one of the 3 board members who did not vote for Dr. Mozingo. Now, that being said, the very next week, I believe it was, I also met with Dr. Mozingo, and he also told me some of the same things that John. I asked him the same questions. Why do you want to come to retirement? Why do you want to come to Lenore County? And he told me the same things. And he told me, that we had. That he thought that he could lead us in the right direction. We had the pieces, the people here, the programs in place, and that he wanted to be a part of it and wanted to help lead us. Now, I also, when I came in, I told Dr. Mozingo that I figured he would know that I did not vote for him to be our interim, and I wanted to explain that to him. It was more on principle than it was anything else. He and I had a long conversation that day. We talked about, I told him as long as I felt that I would trust him, I would believe him, that I would support him, up until the point he proved to me that he couldn't. And to this very day, he has not proved that to me. Matter of fact, he's proved to me that I can, even more so. I, like John, when I first came on board, I didn't, I thought I knew a lot about education. I've been involved at the schools. My wife's a school teacher. I thought I knew everything about education, about how to run a school system, and I found out really quickly I didn't. And I've learned a lot from Dr. Mozingo myself in the time that he's been here on the board also. He has brought a lot of leadership to this county, to this school system. It is true what John says. I've attended a lot of the meetings, and I've met a lot of board members and a lot of superintendents. And there isn't anyone who's been in the school system at all in North Carolina that doesn't know the name Steve Mozingo. He's highly respected. He's highly regarded as an educator. He's known for his political savvy. And so he is well known across the state. So I feel fortunate, that we were able to have him for the period of time that we did. I've actually tried to talk him out of retiring again, but I hadn't had any success with that. And I can understand, I've just recently become a grandfather myself, I can understand the reasoning why he'd want to retire. What I can understand why he wants to give all this up. That's really what puzzles me. But Dr. Mozingo has been a big asset to Lenore County, to the public school. He has we say this all the time, when we run for election, we say we want to do the right thing and put the children first. And I was certainly hoping anybody on the board would attempt to do that. But Dr. Mozingo does do that. He puts the children first, and he puts our school system first. I would like to personally thank him for all his time and effort he's put into Lenore County. I think we do. What I understand when people say, what makes you successful is that when you leave a place in a better position than it was when you came here. And I think Dr. Mozingo has done that. He's left Lenore County in a better place, in a better position, and I want to personally thank him for that. And for, he's been a big asset to me too, for me personally, growing as a board member and a better understanding of how school system works and how central office works and what's right for our kids. So I want to thank Dr. Mozingo for all the time and effort. And if he does change his mind, then we'd like for him to reconsider.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hill.
I would like to.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I was on that board that brought him here. And me and him haven't always agreed, but I think Dr. Mozingo was the right person for this job at the time we hired him. Because we needed to reset ourselves and get in the direction that we needed to go. And he was the right person to do that, and that's what I want to thank him for. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, on behalf of our board, our school system, our teachers, our children, we want to thank you for your service. We wish you a long and happy retirement. And we have a gift for you.
Oh,
I understand.
It's in the parking
I'll
lot.
let you get out.
I thought she had keys to a brand new car.
It's not. It's a small
It's a hybrid.
Stand up there, let me get a picture of that
we're better with the paper on. Yeah, that's
It's not a portrait of me, don't worry about it. This is your-
Anybody got that? No, we don't have that. Anybody got that? No,
So I know you're going to do some traveling. So as you travel the world, you can plot those out on this map. It's made to put push pins in wherever you want to go. So we wish you happy travels.
Our plans so far start with Italy and Ireland, so I'll have a couple pins in there pretty quickly.
Florida.
Florida, forget Florida. Florida a lot. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, before we give you a chance to speak, we're going to approve the agenda for tonight.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for the evening?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Davis. All in favor of approving the agenda, raise your right hand. Our agenda is approved. Next item is the superintendent's announcements.
Okay, now you're in trouble because I get to talk. No, I really will make this short. I look back and I guess everyone looks back and gets to the point where you're retiring and you kind of think about how things have gone. I cannot imagine another profession that I would have wanted to be a part of other than education. It is, to me, more than a profession. Any time that you can spend your career trying to help children, I think that is probably one of the best things that you can say about yourself, whatever capacity you do that in. But to take care of the children is certainly something I think is noble, and I have no regrets on spending my career doing this. I did not intend to be here almost 5 years when I came here, I will tell you that. I did think about it long and hard before I agreed to take this on for a permanent assignment. But I always say it was pretty sad when I finally admitted to myself what I really liked to do most in terms of a job was to be a superintendent. I'm not sure what that says about me. It probably says there are some things really wrong with me. It appears that Brent might have the same disease I have, so I feel sorry for him. But I have enjoyed more than probably should be possible being here and serving the children and serving this community. I truly believe this is a place that can be a showplace for education. I believed it when I came. I still believe that, and I think we're on our way. I really believe that all the right things are here in place in Lenoir County to do the very best job for children that can possibly be done in public education. I think if public education survives, we have some things to prove, and I think we can do that. I think we're going to have to change the way we think about some things, and I think we're going to have to change the way we go about some things, and I've talked about that many, many times. We're not a monopoly. We can't go at this and assume that we can just tell people what to do and they're going to do it. We have to serve them like they are our customers, and we have to appeal to them like we need them to come to us and want to be part of what we have to offer. And I really believe that that's where we are. Probably the way we should have been acting forever. Unfortunately, I don't think we always have. But I think now it is certainly time to recognize. And I think Lenoir County is on its way to being the place where children want to come to school and where parents want to send their children. You've got a lot of work left to do, but it's there. You can do it. There's no question about it. You have to listen to your parents. You have to think about what is fair. You have to make some of those hard decisions. And every day and in every decision, do the right thing. And you're right, you do have to remember the schools don't belong to you. They do belong to the public. That's what makes them public schools. They have a say and should always have a say. Okay. With that, I am very glad I'm finishing my career here. It was someplace I always had in mind that I thought I wanted to work, and I never really thought I was going to get the opportunity, but I did. Thank you. I appreciate the board members that were here when I came on. It was a tough time for you. But we quickly moved on to doing what was right for children, and that's what we all were here to do. And it didn't take long to make that transition. So thank you. I'm not going to talk all night, but because I am ready to finish my first board meeting and my last board meeting and get on to better things. But I truly do appreciate the opportunity and appreciate this board and what we've been able to do together. And I will be watching. And I told the senior staff today that if one day they get a phone call from me and I'll say, "What the hell are you doing?" But I really do mean that I'm going to be watching because we're on a great path, and I want you to stay, and I think you will. All right, with that, I'm going to do some announcements. How's that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The candidate filing period, I think most of you know this, as a result of legislation that shifted the primary elections to March, candidates running for school board and other elected offices for 2016 election season will need to file a notice of candidacy earlier than usual. The 2016 candidate filing period began at noon on December 1 and will run until noon on Monday, December 21st. This means the school board candidates who traditionally file a notice of candidacy in January will need to be sure to file by December 21st for the upcoming election cycle. Also remember that primary elections and school board general elections that are usually held in May alongside the primary will instead be held on March 15, 2016 for this election cycle. Okay, more good news for grants. North Carolina Bright Ideas grants totaling nearly $6,900 were awarded to teachers at 5 of our schools in November. The grants awarded by NC Electric Cooperatives were chosen through a statewide competitive process. Winners from LCPS were Kim Collette, Kinston High School, Crystal Suggs, and Pamela Stanley of Southeast Elementary School, Deborah Raines and Teresa Singer of Northwest Elementary School, Melanie McCoy of Northeast Elementary School, and April Modlin of Contentment Savannah K-8 School. 15 of our schools have earned North Carolina Positive Behavior Intervention and Support, PBIS, Initiative Annual Recognition. Positive Behavior Intervention and Support refers to the application of positive behavior interventions and systems to achieve socially important behavioral change. These schools met all the requirements for this recognition and demonstrated the results that the school and the PBIS team has achieved by working together. using school data to implement research-based practices and developing supportive systems to teach all students new behavior. Specific criteria in systems, data, and practices must be validated in order to receive this recognition. Ms. Vivian Roach, our Director of Exceptional Children, Ms. Julie Hill, our Assistant Director of Exceptional Children, will present the schools with their banners.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
The
Well, evening.
first ribbon that we would like to present is the Green Ribbon School. And the Green Ribbon School is North Lenore High School and Rochelle Middle School, and if the principals will come up. And while they're coming in order to be a Green Ribbon School, they had to have active administration participation. They had to have a PBIS team in place. They had to meet at least 9 times a year and identified in-school coach and completed Module 1. Green ribbon banner for, again, North Lenore and Rochelle Middle School. The second, yes, please. The second ribbon is for model school. And the model schools are Potemkin Savannah School, Frank Middle School, Kinston High School, Northeast Elementary School, Southeast Elementary School, and South Lenore High School. Come forward. While they're coming forward, these schools had active administration participation. They had a PBIS team in place. They met at least 9 times last year. They had an identified in-school coach, and they completed 2 modules, Modules 1 and Module 2. Thank you.
Watch that cord there. Dr. Mozingo, that cord's above your foot. Be careful, please. I see somebody go.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm not trying to finance your retirement.
The next
state's
recognition
gonna finance your
is
retirement,
Exemplar
not us.
School, and the schools are Banks Elementary School, LaGrange Elementary, Learning Academy, Lenore County Learning Academy, Moss Hill Elementary, Northwest Elementary, Woodington Middle, and Pink Hill Elementary.
Yeah.
These schools, while they're coming, had active administrative participation. They had a PBIS team in place. They met monthly. They had a coach, and they completed modules 1, 2, and 3. And these schools met 95% 2 or more years, the last 2 years at least.
Who's tangled? Nobody. Okay. Put mine in your. Get Brett warmed up.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Williams for a couple of other
Absolutely.
very exciting announcements.
Thank you, Dr. Mozingo. It is with great pleasure that I congratulate the Kinston High School Vikings football team for their outstanding come-from-behind overtime 22-21 win Friday night against Southwest Edgecombe. It was an exciting game. The undefeated Vikings will face Shelby High School in the 2A football state championship game Saturday at Carter Finley Stadium on the campus of NC State University, 4:30 p.m. So we hope you all can be there on December 12th. The Vikings will face stiff competition from Shelby High School. They are the two-time defending state champions, and we're not going to let that get in our way. We're going to win that game, bring the championship back home to Champion Town. We want to congratulate these student athletes not only for winning on the field of competition, which is always important, but also for the way in which they won, displaying strong character and sportsmanship all along the way. These young people truly are a credit to their coaches, led by Coach Ryan Gieselman and his team, to their principal, Ms. Tina Letchworth, who's here tonight, and to our whole community as well. So congratulations to them. Tickets will be available this week from Kinston High School. Ms. Letchworth, can they call the main office? Okay. You want to say that again so they can?
Pre-sale tickets Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Okay. Tickets available from Kinston High School and also, of course, at Carter Finley Stadium on game day. Go Vikings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mozingo. Mr. Williams. I guess we'll get used to the announcements by Mr. Williams.
Absolutely.
Starting next month, preview. Next section is our public comment section, and I understand we don't have anyone signed up today. We'll move to the presentation portion of our agenda, ILCPS update. Mr. Williams, if you'll introduce your folks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lauren Tyndall, Digital Learning Specialist at Kinston High School, has coordinated an ILCPS presentation from Kinston High School. Clay Raines, teacher there, and his students, Victoria Kozinski, Gabby Horton, and Sierra Johnson, will be presenting an iMovie created by Mr. Raines' Honors Theater Arts class. In order to create the movie, students researched a list of famous speeches on their iPads, including the I Have a Dream speech, the Gettysburg Address, and the Great Dictator, etc., to determine which place they would like to work. The students decided as a group to create a reader's theater performance of the Great Dictator speech by Charlie Chaplin. Students auditioned for parts they wanted. Then they worked collaboratively using their iPads to research royalty-free instrumental music, images, and World War II footage that could be used in the iMovie. The performance was filmed in the Performing Arts Center using a camera and a tripod for a steady shot. Stage lights and fog machines were used for added effect, and voiceovers were recorded. Mr. Raines edited the initial copy of the performance using iMovie. And Mr. Raines, at this time, I hope I didn't steal your thunder, but there you go.
Well, he did kind of say it all, but the whole process took about 3 weeks from start to finish, and that was basically because I had to order t-shirts. But it's really cool that we're presenting this on December 7th, which is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. So enjoy the Great Dictator speech.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to. That's not I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone, if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's heritage, not by each other's business. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone. Many good God free. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world brain, has goosed us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in fear. Our knowledge has made us cynical. Our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. All will be lost.
Radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these intentions cries out for the goodness in the world, cries out for the universal love, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children. Victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people.
To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair.
Do not despair.
Do not despair.
Misery that is now upon us, but the passion of grief.
The bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress.
The hate of men will pass.
And he takes to God.
And the power they took from the people will return to you.
And so long as men die,
Liberty, liberty, liberty will never perish.
Soldiers, do not give yourself to liberty. Many despise you, enslave you.
Who regiments your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel. Who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men who have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery. Fight for liberty, liberty, liberty.
In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is read, the kingdom of God is in man. Not one man or a group of men, but in all men. In you, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure.
Let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world that will give men a chance to work, that will give you a future and old age persevere. By the promise of these things, roots have risen to power.
But they lie. They do not fulfill that promise.
They never will.
Dictators free themselves out of the slavery.
now let us fight to fulfill that promise,
Let us fight to free the world.
to do away with national barriers.
To do away with greed.
Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all. Let us all.
Do you want to talk about how it's integrated, how you integrated that into your curriculum?
We created an art film. That's how I went to this as a part of a reader's theater. The children or the students actually adapted it. We took the speech after researching and we created the reader's theater. And so it was student choreographed. It was they were learning to take their direction using their monologues and their characterization to do everything. We've incorporated frantic assembly, which is some of the learning that we've done from London in order to create some of the scenes for this.
And just as a reminder, you all have had the iPads just a few weeks, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right.
So this is what happens when you give students a great teacher, the right tools, and the freedom to learn and create. That's what it's about right there. Amazing. Wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Next item is an instructional services update. Ms. Dunn.
Good evening. How are you this evening?
Good evening.
Dr. Mozingo said in his comments that he wanted this to be a very quick last meeting for him. And so I would like to begin by saying that the Instructional Services Presentation Department, we will not be guilty of prolonging the meeting. So my presentation will be very brief this evening.
See when the children can come back in here now.
Trying to give you your money's worth.
Camera's off. But I'm very excited to talk with you tonight about the work that the Instructional Services Department has completed during the month of November. The majority of our work revolved around our school improvement plans and our local forming plans. The first thing that our department did, we started working with the school improvement plan reviews for the 2014-16 cycle. This is the second year of implementing this plan, and so normally we review and revise and present our updates. So this year, we scheduled, as in other years, we've scheduled 1.5 hour sessions with each school to review their plans, to talk about their updates or their revisions, and to offer suggestions on their plans as needed. The schools came in with, some schools came with school improvement teams who were able to add any additional information regarding their plans. The second work thing that we completed during the month of November, as you know, a part of our local performing district plan, one of the strategies included creating district support teams for our low performing schools. And the reason for that would be that these teams would be responsible for providing additional instructional support services for the low performing schools. And the teams would consist of directors, coordinators, as well as district level instructional support staff. And these teams have been assigned to all of our low performing schools. But what I would like to add before I go any further is that these actions and the work that we've done so far is preliminary, meaning this plan has not yet been, our district improvement plan, local performing plan has not been approved by our local board, nor has it been approved by the state. But we could not wait to begin the work in strategizing for the strategies and deciding what we were going to do. So we started working on what we needed to do to make that strategy possible in the hopes of that our plan would be approved. So I just do want to preface that. Another action step another strategy in our low performing plan is to have monthly meetings at our low performing schools. And a part of that would be that we would also create agendas for what discussions would take place as well as what tasks these teams would complete. And as you can see, we have a suggested list of items for discussion that would be a part of the agenda if approved. And we also have a suggested list of tasks that would be completed during these monthly meetings. Again, I just want to remind you that these are merely suggestions from our planning and in anticipation that our plan will hopefully be approved. So some of the things that we suggested that we would discuss and tasks that would be completed, you can see classroom observations. We would review artifacts and documentation, and that would all be a part of what the schools presented in their low performing plans. We would review any data that the schools had available. We also thought that it would be a good idea if we would debrief with the school administrator after each visit. And if necessary, we would also plan to meet with the school improvement team. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I just want to say that these are just suggestions in our planning phase of making this strategy workable for our district. This is not all inclusive, and it's certainly not set in stone, but this is our planning process, and hopefully, if our plan is approved, we'll be ready to go forward. And the last part of our major work for the month of November is it's time to write a new AIG plan, or academically and intellectually gifted plan. Actually, we started working on this plan this summer. Stacy Colley, who is our AIG coordinator, along with a group of AIG teachers, began to work this summer. But our plan is due to DPI in 2016. And also the state has created some new requirements that must be addressed within this plan. And I've just listed a few. We have some new placement criteria that we have to consider, new ideas for testing. We need to review our K-2 nurturing program. There's a component for the high school services in the area of counseling and social and emotional needs. We need to consider the DEPs being required for our high school students that are identified as academically and intellectually gifted. Also, this year, this phase of the planning, there's the college planning section that begins in 7th grade that we would be discussing and addressing in this plan, and also Gear Up. So we are continuing to work on this. Part of what we did, we completed a self-assessment Mrs. Colley sent a self-assessment out to each of the individual schools and asked for their feedback, as well as the instructional services team. That was completed, and so now we're just waiting for the next step. And that is the work for the month of November for the instructional services department.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Ms. Dunn?
When do you suspect the plan would come before the board?
Well,
In about 10 minutes.
it is. Yes, I will be back before you shortly.
It won't be long.
Won't be long.
I think it's ready.
Yeah. This was a plea meal.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn.
Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Speak Up NC. Mr. Holmes is listed.
Gentlemen, I'd like to present Mike Anderson with NC Center for Safer Schools, and he's going to introduce you to the app I think that you've heard a little bit about, Speak Up NC, which is going to roll out, hopefully, to students in January. So,
I wasn't sure whether to stand or sit, so I chose letter B. First off, congrats, Dr. Nzinga. That's pretty cool. I retired myself along with my colleague Pat Bazemore. I got my first college tuition bill and failed at retirement and had to get back to work. So, Superintendent Williams, Chairman Sullivan, on behalf of the Governor of the State of North Carolina, Pat McCrory, and Secretary Perry from my Department of Public Safety, good evening. I think you've heard recently about the Speak Up app that we are getting ready to roll out into 70 schools throughout the state. The pilot counties are Avery County, Macon County, Lenoir, Forsyth, Johnston, and Iredell. So it's 70 schools. We wanted to have a good mix from the mountains. We're hopefully going out further out east, out to the Outer Banks. That's my goal. But the state legislation dictates that it becomes mandatory, I believe, in July 2016. I think it's written. And so the good thing about the Speak Up app, it will cost the counties zero. We have worked really hard with grants with the Governor's Crown Commission to make sure that it doesn't cost the counties anything to be able to enable this app. The app, and speaking as a retired law enforcement officer and a former SRO of 10.5 years working in the schools, I can assure you that the information that kids have, a lot of the kids don't put forth. Kids are very worried about retribution. They're scared about reprisals against them for reporting certain acts. And so I can assure you that this anonymous tip line that we're putting forth is truly anonymous. One of the things that I put my cop eyes on early on, and one thing that Superintendent Williams asked me personally is it's truly anonymous. I can literally send a tip from my phone, pick it up on my phone from the other side of the app, and it still does not recognize who or where it was sent from. That's just off of one phone. It goes up to Canada, goes into the servers, all the IP addresses and everything else is erased off of that. But one of the things that brought it to the forefront is the bullying problems we have in public schools and in all schools these days. 160,000 kids a day. 160,000 kids a day are absent nationally from schools all throughout the country because of bullying issues. I'll go ahead and throw another stat at you. 80% of all school shooters tell at least one or more people about their intent before they actually commit their crime. 80%. It's an FBI statistic. But we did a recent statewide survey, and over 90% of kids that we surveyed, came back and said that they would use a truly anonymous tool that they were given them. And we have that tool for you. I'm not here to sell. Patrick has done a great, absolutely fantastic job of helping us get this into Lenoir County schools. And so for that, I thank him. This app, you'll be able to report bullying, drug use, underage drinking, weapons, fighting. We also have a miscellaneous button that kind of catches everything. It's a danger button. So if anybody, sees something that doesn't fit in those categories, they can still report it through there. It also has, one thing that we found to be important, it has a suicide lifeline attached to it, where basically you press the suicide hotline banner, the national hotline comes up and directs you right from there to be able to get you help. Of course, the anonymity is broken once that suicide hotline call goes out for obvious reasons. And that's one of the things that we wanted to be able to do is be able to get those kids some help when they did that. Speaking of the truly anonymous, one of the things that we kind of ran up against, and we kind of understood that anything that comes over email, text messages, anything like that could be considered public record. In House Bill 380, that was recently signed off on in state law. We have written state statutes that details that any information that comes through this application is not public record. And we have my executive director, Kim Martin. Husband is pretty well connected from through the courts. Her husband, Chief Justice Mark Martin, has invited us out to present to the judges and the magistrates all the way up to the top of the state level to present what that one particular aspect of this application. I think the biggest thing is that we as adults can sit here all day and tell students what they need. We can talk at them. But we just actually sat down and talked with them and put together a student engagement committee. Involves the Kinston teens from here. Involves the task force student representative Colby Holland, who attends Kinston High, and students from all throughout the state. We have this thing. We've had teenage eyes on this thing. They have come up with their own marketing plan. There again, as adults, we can't really tell kids what they are going to like and everything else. But the students know what they like. They've come up with hashtags, they've come up with commercials, different videos, the posters that goes into the schools, bookmarks, and everything else to go along to be able to promote this application. And there again, it'll be no cost to the counties, and like I said, it'll be in place by July of 2016 under state law. Now what we're going to do is, I think all of the, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Holmes, all the schools have been trained, all the personnel has been trained in middle and high schools. It is currently on in the iTunes store right now. It's also on the Android store. And so the kids will be able to download it from there, be able to push it out. But that's one of the biggest things that we kind of tried to decide what to do and how to roll it out and how to give it to the kids. And we're still working on that aspect as well. But we've decided to not push it out right now because of the holidays obviously coming up. And also when you come back, the dreaded exams. And so we're going to put those, we're going to put that soft launch in North County probably the week of January 25th or so, and go from there. So, speaking as somebody that's actually worked in the schools as a law enforcement officer, I can tell you that I've personally raked this thing over the coals. This thing has been in front of teenagers. This thing has been in front of state government officials. This thing is, it's going to be a great tool. I'm open for any questions you may have.
What have you, you can tell us and we might trust you. What are you going to do to make the kids trust you that there's, that this is not going to be, if they report something?
Right. And that's one of the things that came up early on, very early on, was how can we get the kids' trust in this? There's been so many anonymous tip apps and applications and phone-in lines and everything else. Since I've been working in schools since 1991, and I've seen them come and go. But those things were never rolled out by teenagers. They were never marketed by teenagers. And so the teenagers will get in front of the teenagers and say, hey, look, and it's not just the class presidents and everything else that's promoting this thing. We're getting it down to the nitty gritty on some of these kids and telling them, and they're coming with us with information as well. So we're letting the kids push this thing out. I think they've met with Patrick a couple times to actually do some of the rollout events. And so it's strictly student driven.
It's great if it works, I tell you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Mr. Anderson? Well, we were certainly rooting for you.
Yep, I am too. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. All right, the next item on the agenda is Dr. Mazingo with policy revisions for December.
Hey, we have,
Apparently, we didn't get them all this month. Looks like we have 36 more.
Well, these you had for a first reading in November. These 36 are coming back before you for a second reading. They're, of course, based on revisions in law and state board policy. And there is a new batch for a first reading, no, I'm sorry. This is the first reading for these.
This is the first reading. We've got some on the action agenda for
these. Yeah, we didn't get them all last month. You're exactly right. These are based on some changes, particularly in how school boards operate and some of the new requirements that have come out of legislation. Becky and I went through these pretty much in detail, and others have looked at them also. If you have any questions about these, because a lot of these do have to do with some of the policies that are board related. This new batch does. And all the changes are driven by legislation and other mandates. But if you have any questions, please call us. We'd be happy to talk to you about it. You have a month to look over, and then you can ask Brent all the questions you have. Any questions tonight that we might can help you with?
All right, the next item on the agenda is the financial report. Ms. Davis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The financial report reflects the year-to-date activity by providing revenue and expenditure information as to all the sources of funds received and expended by fund and purpose as of November 30th, 2015. May I answer any questions?
Questions for Ms. Davis tonight? All right, we will move to the action portion of our agenda. Ms. Davis, for your budget amendment number 1 for this year.
This budget amendment increases the state public school funds due to additional funds received for PRCO 03, the substitute reimbursements, PRCO 15 technology, PRCO 29 behavioral support, 039 resource officers, 056 transportation, and that's the second allotment that we receive on transportation. That, in the beginning they would give us the first allotment, so they give us the second allotment around December. 063, the EC Special Program Funds, 073, School Connectivity. It also reduces funds due to the charter and virtual school adjustments. The other local funds are increased due to additional funds received for PRC 930, the Medicaid Administrative and Direct Services, PRC 802 E-Rate, PRC 530, the SREB grant, PRC 860 PEG channel reimbursements. May I answer any questions?
What did you say about the charter and virtual schools that reduces the budget with those funds?
Yes, we have to have, in our plan, initial allotments. They give us our initial allotments, and then after the ADM is figured for the charter and virtual schools, then they'll reduce our allotments for that.
How much is it on the virtual schools?
I think it ranged around 30-some thousand. I don't know those exact.
And they have how many of those virtual schools are there? They're all.
Two schools.
It's 2 of them. 2 K-12.
And they're both piloted programs, right?
Yeah.
Both piloted programs.
I think they've been approved for 2 years, I believe. Is that right?
So, I just think it's crazy we have to pay for pilot programs. Our money. I might be the only one feel that way, but
You're not.
I don't think so.
Programs that have largely not been successful in any other states.
That's very true.
Hasn't been proven here either. You gotta pay for it.
Any questions for Ms. Davis on budget resolution number 1?
to adopt.
All right, motion by Mr. Anderson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. Any further discussion on the budget amendment number 1? If we're all in favor, raise your right hand. Budget amendment passes. Thank you. Next item is a return of Ms. Dunn with the low performing district plan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Under General Statute 115C-105.37, low-performing schools and low-performing districts must have a school and district improvement plan that focuses on improving both school performance and growth. The district improvement plan and school improvement plans for all 10 low-performing schools were presented at the November 2nd, 2015 school board meeting. The district improvement plan must be submitted to DPI within 5 days after board approval. It is recommended that the district improvement plan be approved as presented.
Have we changed anything in it since it was presented to us a month ago?
We have not.
Made the changes that were suggested.
Oh, yes, those,
Okay.
yes. We made sure that we did. We made sure that we added IOCPS, our technology.
Okay.
We strengthened that strategy, that action step.
One question.
Yes, sir.
There was a lot of redundancy on that blueprint. You mentioned that several times in here on the different strategies that you're going to develop in your blueprint, whatever it is. It shows up in about 2 or 3 different places. Is there a reason for that?
Well, the instructional blueprints will be our instructional guides, our pacing, well, not our pacing guides, but our curriculum guides.
I'm just wondering why they show up 2 or 3
Well,
times.
we're going to use them in each of the different actions and strategies that we have. They just carry over from step to step. They won't be addressed, they just work with in one strategy. We're going to have to involve curriculum in everything that we do.
What is, I know what the DIBELS is, but what is the TRC?
The TRC is the reading comprehension component for DIBELS. It's where the teachers are able to assess their students' reading comprehension.
How good is that?
I'm sorry?
How good is that?
How good is it?
As far as assessing the reading comprehension with the DIBELS and the TRC?
Well, it's a scientifically research-based assessment that's been adopted by the state. We've been using it for quite a few years now. So I think the data, speaking from a principal standpoint, the data is very good. It helps you with understanding where your early learners are with their early foundation of reading skills.
Mr. Smith, if I could respond to that, the TRC on the DIBELS it's the reading comprehension, but it has a writing component, so it's a very good overall assessment. It does need to be taken when you want to look strictly at reading comprehension with a writing component taken out. You'd want another assessment, but it's a very good tool for kind of getting a big picture of that.
Okay, so the TRC has the writing component.
It does have a writing component. There are things that have to be included in there that have written responses to what it's.
Now the DIBELS itself is just a reading component, comprehension.
It is, yes, it is. But there's a writing component in that one, so.
Ms. Dunn, I'm sure y'all got all the quirks out of the actual program. I'm just really interested in how well this works because we really need it.
Well, it was a quick turnaround, and this will not be the only time that we revisit it. We'll constantly be revisited, so I'm hoping that this is a good start. And
Yeah, it is a great start. We need to do better.
I absolutely agree. That is our goal.
Now, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
You're asking us to adopt the district plan, not the individual.
Absolutely. Yes,
That
sir.
seems to be what's before us.
Yes, the district plan is
Just the
what's
district
before you.
plan, yes.
Move to adopt.
A motion by Mr. Anderson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Nobles. Further discussion on adoption of the district school, low-performing school improvement plan. Having no further discussion, we'll call it for a vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. It is approved. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Next item is policy revisions for November.
Okay, now I'm in the right place.
We'll give you a break tonight.
Thank you. I was thinking about my trips already, you understand. 32 policies that we looked at last month for a first reading are back before you. I have not talked to anyone who had questions, but if you have questions and would like them answered tonight, we'll certainly try to do that for you. These are based on changes in laws and recommendations by the School Boards Association for making changes in the policy.
And you will recommend these?
Yes, I do recommend
Move
these.
to adopt.
Well, I just had a question. It's out of the question. That remote participation in board meetings part, did that come out of that?
2302.
Yeah, 2302. Did that basically come out of, well, I don't know if you know the answer or not, but I know of the situation in Wayne County, that was a big issue.
There have been questions about it in the school system. Carolyn may know more about what has happened with this than I do.
Well, I think there's a desire to tighten it up a little bit. There is at times an over-reliance on this video conferencing, and the main thing is it needs to be compliant with open meeting laws. So it has to be able to allow deliberation by the board. It has to allow public participation in board meetings. So there's a desire to have it consistent with open meetings, and I think that's what's driven this.
Yeah. And my understanding is there have been questions about whether the remote participation actually did comply with the open meetings law. And so that's why it was recommended that we put it in policy.
This policy does provide that you can only do it 3 times during a calendar year. There are some limitations on it.
Something that's done on a regular basis.
It definitely doesn't encourage it.
Right. Which I don't think it should. I mean, there are always those occasions when we need it, and we have used it, but it should not be something the board member does on a regular basis.
Okay.
Do we have a second to Mr. Anderson's motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. Any further discussion about these policy provisions? 32 of them. We'll do them as a group. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? They are approved. Next item is Mr. Williams with some surplus property.
Thank you. The Technology Department has submitted the list that you see before you of computer equipment, outdated, defective, broken computer equipment that's no longer usable for us. And we are submitting it tonight for your consideration for declaring it surplus for discard or sale with any proceeds to return to the school system.
In the spirit of de-junking the schools.
Finally cleaned out those rooms.
Yep. Working on it.
Move to approve the items listed as surplus.
All right, motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. King. Any further discussion about surplus property? All in favor of declaring that property surplus, raise your right hand. Property is declared surplus. Looks like we have a couple of out-of-state field trips. Mr. Williams.
Tonight we're bringing before you for your consideration 3 out-of-state field trips. Pink Hill Elementary School 5th graders are requesting to travel to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on February 12th, 2016. Woodington Middle School 6th graders are requesting to travel to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on April 28th, 2016. And Rochelle Middle School, their chorus students are requesting to travel to Orlando, Florida on April 29th, 2016. And the first 2 are medieval times in the aquarium, and the last 2 to Orlando, Florida is a training session for theater arts students from Rochelle located at Disney World.
Do we have a motion to approve the field trip?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Davis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. All in favor of approving the out-of-state field trips, raise your right hand. They are approved. Next item is a motion to go into closed session.
I move that Lenore County Board of Education go into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files, to consult the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege, and to consider matters relating to initial employment of an individual employee.
Motion made by Mr. Hill. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. King. All in favor of going into closed session, raise your right hand. We are now in closed session. All right, we are back in open session. We'll entertain a motion to approve the personnel report with the addendum.
Move to approve the personnel report with the addendum.
Motion by Mr. Smith. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Hill. All in favor of approving the personnel report with the addendum, raise your right hand. All opposed? It is 6-1, passes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Noble, second by Mr. Smith. All in favor of adjournment, raise your right hand. Looks unanimous to me. So we are now adjourned.